Hi, I'm Ana Petero here at Solano College TV Studios. Welcome to About Town. This afternoon's episode will focus on millennials in Fairfield who are serving our community. Joining me this afternoon is Mr. Manveer Sandhu, who is a resident here at Fairfield and also a product of our community, a millennial who is serving their community. Manveer, thank you so much for joining me here this afternoon at Solano. I'm so happy to meet you, or to see you again. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I've grown up in Fairfield all my life, been here since kindergarten.
Yep.
And I went to Vanden High School, and I thought I was a really good student. I thought I did everything right.
Right.
But I didn't get accepted to any university.
Now, is Vanden High School, is that part of the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District, or is it the Travis Unified School?
It is Travis Unified.
Oh, okay, I see, okay.
And so I went to a community college, and I thought I was too good for a community college just because it had a certain stigma.
Right.
But I get there, and I quickly got involved in student government.
I see.
And I found myself that I had a passion for student organizing and getting involved, overseeing a budget, getting involved in that, dealing with personnel and students.
Right.
And that moved on to student trustee, so on the highest governing board of the college. And then I took my experience in overseeing a budget of student government to how is the college operating? Are we spending money wisely and responsibly?
Right.
Planning for events turned into planning for college events on a bigger scale.
I see.
So my experience from student government, I took that to student trustee at the highest level of college governing.
Right.
And now I want to take that experience and take it to city council. And I think I can do a good job.
I see. Wow. So you were involved in student government. What does it take to be a member of student government, student council at a community college?
All it takes is the willingness to get involved. Because there are people in student government at the time who are just wanting people to get involved.
Right.
Because there is so little engagement from students to student government.
Right. So at a community college, most community colleges are like community schools, right? We don't have dorms, so students are usually part-time students. Students have families, and so they're in and out of class. They have to go to work. Many students take classes in the evenings and on weekends. So how does one go about reaching those students and have them participate in student government?
Going door to door. So every classroom and talking to the kids, or not the kids, but the students. Going to every classroom, having a table outside the library where all the kids are engaged, and then using social media.
Exactly.
As time progresses, we are campaigning in new ways. It doesn't matter how many doors you knock sometimes, but how much you are on social media.
Right.
So with students who are commuting more and more, we have to use different ways of reaching them, which is where social media comes in.
And so because there's so many different kinds of students, how do you choose a message for those students at the community college when you're running for student government?
There is one unifying message, no matter what age it is, and that is the desire to get involved and make some change.
Right.
Because I don't care what change someone wants to make. Because if they're not involved to begin with, it doesn't matter what they want to do because it's never going to happen.
Right.
And that's the same thing in city council. A lot of us complain about a certain issue, but
Right.
very few of us go to the city council meeting.
Exactly.
And very, very, very few of them get involved in city council and run for it.
Right.
Until people get involved, nothing's going to change.
Right.
And that's the same thing in student government and the same thing in city politics.
What did you do to change policies that affected students when you were on student government?
It's a good question. My biggest thing was civic engagement. When I got to student government, I saw that we have a very small budget,
Right.
which made me realize that fiscal responsibility is extremely important.
Right.
And in doing so, I looked at different ways of funding student government, looking at grants. Walmart gives grants, Bank of America, Delta Airlines, and I started reaching out to them.
Right.
So I quickly got the nickname of the Money Man. And there was a grant that came from the Foundation for California Community Colleges, for all colleges, on civic engagement. It was a $10,000 grant. So my advisor says, hey, man, if you look at this, and check out the email. So I did. And I was like, hey, it's free money. Let's go for it. So my advisor and I, we worked together, and I got the college $10,000 for civic engagement. That's what brought us together. And that's what I brought to the table, is the idea of getting involved. And I did that not only by saying it and talking about it, but working to get a grant for civic engagement.
Well, working in city council, you'll have to work with 3 other people, I believe it is, right? And in addition to the mayor?
Yeah, 4. Yeah,
So
3 others, yeah, that's right.
So how has working in student government prepared you for for working with among other people in city council, because you're relatively young.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, he's a young man. He's just out of college, or is you're attending UC Davis now." Is that
I
what
am.
you're doing?
I'll be starting at the end of the month.
Right. So that's so exciting. So there would be these young people don't know what they're talking about. You don't have the experience. You're still wet behind the ears. What do you say to that?
Well, what about the young students in Parkland who organized and had a rally?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to say they're too young to speak out?
Right.
At what point should we drop that label if someone is too young so they don't know?
Right.
I'd say if they're too young, that means they're even better,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not full of an ego, and they're not full of hubris that they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And as student government, I realized quickly the importance of teamwork
Right.
and remaining calm
Mhm.
and never losing your temper.
Yes, that's kind of
Because if
important.
you lose your temper, you can't get past to what you want to do,
Mhm.
because there's a roadblock now.
Right.
And it is that quality that I gained from student government,
Right.
between planning events, outreaching for voter registration, is remaining calm in team building times. And that's something I want to carry over to city council, is remaining calm.
Were you when you represented students and student trustee? That's a little bit different from
Yeah.
student government. You were around the board of directors, right? The school board, rather.
Yes, yes.
So how did that work, and how different was that from working in student government?
The role of a trustee,
Mhm.
and especially a student trustee, is not to be an advocate for students. That sounds a little contrarian, but
Mhm.
I'll clarify that. There is no other board member on a board of trustees that's there for just one interest.
Right.
There's no teacher advocate on the board who has a voting right. There's no staff. There's no faculty.
Right.
But there is a student position. So that position isn't there to advocate only for students,
Mhm.
but to make the best decision for the whole community as a student.
Oh, that's excellent.
So I was serving as like any other trustee,
Mhm.
but the only exception was I was a student.
Right.
And I'm there to, what's the best decision for the college in the long view,
Yes.
not what's in the best interest of a student. And I can give a good, quick example
Sure.
of that. Say the college wants to increase tuition by a couple dollars.
Mhm.
Any student will say, no,
Right.
I don't want my tuition increased. But by increasing tuition, maybe we can hire more teachers,
Right.
build a new classroom,
Mhm.
update technology. Well, now that's good for the college. It
Mhm.
might hurt the students in the short term, but it will better the community in the long term, which is where the role of student trustee comes in.
Right.
Is that I'm there to make the best decision for the
Mhm.
community as a student.
Excellent. So with student government, student trustee, and translating that to city council,
Yeah.
how can you do that for the community at large? And what ideas do you have for the community?
In Fairfield, there's not much to do.
Mhm.
So often I hear that people are going to Vacaville and neighboring cities to have recreational activities. For example,
Right.
bowling,
Mm-hmm.
a skating rink, Topgolf.
Right.
They leave Fairfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go to Vacaville for that.
Yeah, and that's not okay,
Mhm.
because why not just move there?
Right.
And I don't want that to happen,
Mhm.
or else we'll just have a huge exodus of people leaving the city.
Exactly.
That's why I want to bring in a bowling alley,
Mhm.
a skating rink, and Topgolf.
Right.
Topgolf is a new attraction that there's one in Roseville, and a
Mhm.
lot of people go there.
What is it exactly?
It is a indoor driving range with digital lights,
Oh, okay.
so it's really cool.
Yeah.
And we don't have one anywhere nearby.
Mhm.
So if we get one in Fairfield, we can get Contra Costa County coming here,
Right.
Napa County, Solano County. It's good for business,
Mhm.
and we can employ people from
Right.
Fairfield. The other one's bowling and skating.
Yeah.
Every city should have at least one.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make money. There's no doubt. All the city needs to do is ensure that it remains safe and a good place to go for kids.
Do you think that'll keep your generation here?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because it keeps them out of trouble.
Right.
Right now there's not much to do. And getting a bowling alley is a step in the right direction.
Mhm.
It's not going to solve everything,
Right.
but it's a step in the right direction.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming down here and talking to us about millennials serving their community and giving back to their community. There's something that you would like to share with our viewers here at the community college level
Yeah.
for our community at large.
I believe as civic engagement increases,
Mhm.
improvements in our city will follow. And I see government and people as a relationship,
Mhm.
just like how raising a child takes mom and a dad.
Absolutely.
If there's only one person trying or one entity, it's not going to work out.
Mhm.
As people get involved, government has to get involved because they vote me in,
Mhm.
and I want to stay in office.
Right.
So if I stop doing a good job, they're going to vote me out.
Mhm.
So as more people get involved and more people know what's going on, they're going to force me to become a better elected official,
Yep.
which is good for the whole system.
Yes.
And that's all I'm trying to do. I want to get people involved.
Yep.
So I want to make politics positive, and I'm trying to bring it politics to people.
Absolutely, and families too, because we have so many different kinds of families. We live in 2018. You know, families not only consist of moms and dads. Some
Yeah.
families have moms and moms. Some families have two dads. In some families, grandparents are raising their grandchildren.
Yes.
You have some foster children, and unfortunately, here in Fairfield, we even have homeless children who are in schools as well. So we have to, foster families as well and cultivate that. I mean, these are all who are going to be your constituents. And it'd be wonderful to see, to have young people like you to shape the future and what's going to look like, what Fairfield is going to look like. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Feel free to come back and bring other people that you'd like to bring back, who are other millennials who are giving back to our community.
There's one last thing I want
Sure.
to add. You mentioned homelessness briefly, and I
Mhm.
think I know how to solve it.
Yeah?
The practice of other counties giving people one-way tickets to leave the
Mhm.
area is unacceptable.
Right.
That is only hurting other places more. It's not
Mhm.
solving the solution at all. I'll give you an example. I'm a swim instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a student and I can't teach them how to swim, I can't say, bye, leave, I can't help you.
Right.
I have to become a better instructor.
Exactly.
Same way with these counties, San Francisco County, Marin County.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't deal with the problem of homelessness,
Mhm.
the answer isn't send them away. They need to rise to the occasion and meet it.
Right.
And so I'm going to do that by calling them out in public. And the
Mhm.
other one is to sue them for not doing their job.
Right.
Because if I can't teach a student how to swim, you can bet me my boss will fire me.
Right.
So if the voters aren't going to hold their elected officials accountable to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
the courts need to get involved and put pressure on elected officials to do their job.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thank you very much again for joining us. I'm Ana Petero, and thank you for joining us here on About Town.